when I told them I had never received a more treasured honor. Listen carefully and in context.
That's right, that's true.
Because Omowale Malcolm X is a man who chooses his words very, very carefully.
True,
if you know nothing else about Omowale Malcolm X, you know he was a master orator.
That's right.
You know he was a words artist who chose his words very, very carefully. Yeah? You could call him a forensic orator.
Nice.
Yeah?
CSI business.
So, if he says that he has the name Al-Haji Malcolm X already, and then he's given the name Omowale, and he says, I meant it when I told them I had never received a more treasured honor. What does that say to us? What does that say to us? Yeah? About the comparative significance of the Mecca experience and even the Arabic Muslim experience and the experience of Africa, where I will repeat, he spent 6 months out of the last year of his life. He started 2 organizations, one called the Muslim Mosque Incorporated and the other called the Organization for Afro-American Unity, named after the Organization for African Unity in Africa. Can you see the connection there, brothers and sisters? And he spent most of his time developing the Organization for Afro-American Unity. And understand the significance here of Afro-American. We hear in the eulogy where Baba Ozzie Davis emphasizes Afro-American, Afro-American. Malcolm X so much wanted us to be Afro-American. Understand, it wasn't the American peace that he was getting excited over, but Afro-American was, for us, very revolutionary in the 60s. It was our connect with Mama Africa. It was our connect with Mama Africa. So we were moving away from Negro and assuming an identity that connected us with Mama Africa. You are with me so far? Are you sure? Now, of his mission, the eminent prophet and king tells us, and these are his words. He says, new bridges must be built, because in the minds of the majority of our people today, Africa is too far away. So the only way that you and I can point them in that direction is to build new bridges. We have to have the type of understanding of Africa and the type of understanding of our people here in order to build a bridge, a contact, a line of communication. And once these lines of communication have been established and our African brothers can stretch forth, sorry brothers and sisters, can stretch forth their hands and reach us, and we can stretch forth our hands and reach them, while there is nothing that this blue-eyed man here can do to you and me in this country successfully from this day onwards. Did you hear that, brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
This is what he was doing. Building bridges. New bridges, he said, had to be built. In another speech, he says he aimed to reunite Africans in America with the Africans from the Caribbean, with Africans from the continent. for the first time since Garvey died.
Yes.
So we see what his mission was here, brothers and sisters. For the first time since Garvey died. The latest daughter who was born to him, the last daughter who was born to him before he passed, remembering that there were twins in the womb. The last daughter who was born to him was given an African name. Lumumba was the name that she was given. So we can see that Papa Garvey was growing. Papa Omowale Malcolm X was growing in his cultural embrace and internalization of the African continent, of African traditions. And it is very, very important that we understand this and we understand the significance of it, because plans are still afoot even today to disconnect us from the African continent. They don't want us to have independent association with our brothers and sisters on the motherland. And we must ask ourselves why. Now, it was said last night in response to questions. I remember Baba Anthony Browder, and there's, you know, we have a lot of love and respect for these great men and women, these great scholars that we have, and the work that they do. But sometimes we have a different perspective or a different opinion, or a different emphasis to theirs. And last night a question was asked, and I can't remember the question, but I do know that in the response that was given, that it was said that Omowale Malcolm X, it was when he became internationalized, when he became international, and began to connect with the struggles, quote unquote, of other peoples, that he really became, or was perceived by the American government to be a real threat, and therefore why he was eventually killed. But I want to remind us that Omowale Malcolm X was under surveillance from 1950, when he was in prison in 1950. And after he had accepted the teachings of Elijah Muhammad as it related to the teachings of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey, with which he was raised, and he had such an impact inside the prison, he was put under surveillance from then.